J-Bone here, and it is time to preview and predict this weekend's Formula One Japanese Grand Prix that maybe Max Verstappen won't win because he just lost the last race? Copium. J-Bone! The 2024 F1 Japanese Grand Prix takes place in Suzuka, Japan at the Suzuka International Racing Course, which is better known as the Suzuka Circuit, or the holy shiz, this circuit is fast as crap circuit. Because it is chock full of high-speed corners such as the S's, Degner 1 and 130R that expose drivers to crazy levels of lateral G-force in both directions, Suzuka is known as Formula One's preeminent driver's track, with Lewis Hamilton saying it's the best roller coaster ride he's felt in a Formula One car, and Carlos Sainz even saying it's officially his favorite circuit. Does this mean that Australian Grand Prix winner Carlos Sainz is about to make it back-to-back F1 wins because we're now at his favorite circuit? People are saying, delusional people, but still. The Suzuka circuit is owned and operated by the Honda Motor Company, which kinda sounds like a conflict of interest considering 4 Honda-backed engines have taken home Japanese Grand Prix victories at Suzuka, including, the last 2. But I am not here to spread conspiracy theories, so disregard everything I just said. If it feels to you like we're arriving at Suzuka a bit early in the F1 season compared to normal, you're not delusional like those people who think Sainz is about to make it back-to-back wins. Historically, the Japanese Grand Prix has been one of the last races of, if not the last race of, the F1 season, but this season is seeing it move from the back of the F1 calendar to the front, according to F1. This has been done as part of F1's efforts to rationalize its calendar, creating a more efficient flow of races and reducing the distance that freight travels around the world as part of its journey to become net zero carbon by 2030. Additionally, F1 notes that this new slot will also see Formula One visit Japan during the world-famous cherry blossom season, offering fans the opportunity to take in fantastic racing and see one of Earth's most iconic natural spectacles. The Japanese Grand Prix is the race I want to go to the most, and I wish I could see those blossoms in person. But alas, I'm here in the bed. Here's some more Suzuka Circuit trivia for you. The Formula One Japanese Grand Prix's Suzuka Circuit is different from every other current F1 circuit in one huge way. Do you know what that is? And no, the answer is not, it's in Japan, which is technically correct, but if you guessed that, you're probably the same exact jerk who guessed it's in Australia for my Albert Park Circuit trivia question last week. The real answer is that the Suzuka Circuit is the only circuit on the current F1 calendar that has a figure 8 design, meaning the circuit actually crosses back over itself by way of a bridge at one point so that drivers can actually be momentarily driving underneath another F1 car during the Grand Prix. And no, I don't mean like how Lewis Hamilton was driving underneath Max Verstappen at the 2021 Italian Grand Prix. The intersection of the figure 8 occurs between turns 9 and 10 and turns 14 and 15, meaning the portions of the racetrack on either side of the intersection actually run in opposite directions, one clockwise and one counterclockwise, making the Suzuka Circuit the only circuit in F1 to run in 2 different directions. Along with being the only circuit in F1 to feature a figure 8 design, the Suzuka Circuit is also the only FIA Grade 1 circuit to feature a figure 8, now that Ferrari's test track, the Fiorano Circuit, is no longer FIA Grade 1. What's even crazier is that Suzuka was originally supposed to have 3 crossovers instead of 1, which would have been absolutely wild. Next up, here are the 3 F1 storylines you should be following throughout the 2024 Japanese Grand Prix weekend. First, just for a second, consider the possibility that Max Verstappen loses this weekend's Formula One Japanese Grand Prix to make it back-to-back F1 Grand Prix losses. If that happens, it will mark the first time since the 2022 Austrian Grand Prix that Max Verstappen loses back-to-back F1 races, which is absurd. Additionally, it would also most likely result in Max Verstappen not leading the F1 World Drivers' Championship for the first time since the start of the 2022 F1 season, which is also absurd. Not to mention the elephant in the room, it will give F1 fans around the world hope that maybe Max Verstappen and Red Bull don't run away with the F1 World Drivers and Constructors Championships for the 3rd year in a row. All right, now snap back to reality, because if there's any circuit Max Verstappen is not going to lose at in his Red Bull rocket ship, it's Suzuka. Last year, Max was on pole by over half a second, and then he won the Japanese Grand Prix by over 19 seconds, both of which are hard gaps to comprehend, given how high speed of a circuit Suzuka is. So I'm sorry, Ferrari fans in particular, but it's looking like Red Bull's journey to the 2024 Drivers and Constructors Championships starts this weekend. There's always next year, Tifosi, and honestly, given Ferrari's current trajectory and the arrival of Lewis, I actually mean that this time. Your second storyline is Yuki Tsunoda about to end Daniel Ricciardo's F1 career at his home race in Japan? It is no secret at all that VCARB driver Daniel Ricciardo is on the hot seat after his poor start to the 2024 F1 season. We're currently 3 races into the F1 season, and Daniel's yet to score any points, yet to qualify ahead of his teammate Yuki Tsunoda, and yet to finish a race ahead of Yuki without the use of team orders. Normally, all that would not be a big deal for a driver this early in the season, but there are 3 factors at play here, making it a huge deal. First, after losing his McLaren seat before last season due to poor performances, 34-year-old Daniel Ricciardo was only given another shot in F1 last season with the expectation that his time away from the sport reset him back to his winning ways and that he would re-enter F1 and immediately start beating his less experienced teammate Yuki Tsunoda, which he is not doing right now. Second, Red Bull already have Daniel Ricciardo's replacement lined up, that being Red Bull reserve driver Liam Lawson, who performed quite impressively while filling in for the injured Daniel Ricciardo last season, and who almost even got a 2024 VCARB seat over Daniel or Yuki. And third, there's the fact that Red Bull, who own VCARB, give their drivers the shortest leashes of all time, given how deep their driver lineup is. After all, Daniel Ricciardo only re-entered F1 last season because Nick de Vries was fired less than halfway into last season due to poor performance, and also you can just ask Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon about how crazy Red Bull is about their drivers. If Yuki outperforms Daniel by a wide margin at his home race in Japan, it could be one of the final nails, if not the final nail, in Daniel's coffin that sees Danny Rick replaced by Liam Lawson less than halfway through this season in what would be sadly poetic given Daniel's replacing of de Vries. And to make matters even worse for Daniel, as he tries to save his F1 career, VCARB are putting Japanese Red Bull Junior driver Ayumu Iwasa in Daniel's car for Free Practice 1 in Japan, meaning Daniel will have 33% less practice time than Yuki at Suzuka. Good luck, Danny Rick. You're gonna need it. If Daniel Ricciardo ends up losing his seat at VCARB, you have to imagine they'll simply be doing an inside hire to replace him by promoting Liam Lawson to his seat. If they're considering doing an outside hire, though, they should definitely use my sponsor, Indeed, which is the best hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one convenient place. Instead of spending hours, literal hours, on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed is a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. Something I love about Indeed, and the reason that I use it to hire and VCARB should also consider doing so as well, is that Indeed makes hiring all in one place incredibly easy because their hiring platform matches you with quality candidates instantly. Indeed is just truly an unbelievably powerful hiring platform, and it is, guess what, folks? The #1 source of hires in the US, according to Talent Nest. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/FBone. Offer good for a limited time, so get after it, folks. Go to that URL, claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/FBone. Just go to Indeed.com/FBone and support the show by saying you heard about it on this podcast. Indeed.com/FBone. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Your final F1 storyline to follow for the Japanese Grand Prix. Sound the alarms because it is threat level midnight for Mercedes F1 team right now. Mercedes just scored a whopping 0 points in Australia due to a mechanical DNF for Lewis Hamilton, followed by a skill DNF for George Russell. Fernando Alonso did not deserve a penalty for what led to George's crash. Don't at me. The Silver Arrows have now gotten worse and worse results with each race at which they compete this season, which I've looked into, and it turns out is not what you're looking for. This is especially true when you're in Mercedes' position of needing to attract a top driver to replace Lewis Hamilton for next season. You want to instill confidence in your driver targets that come into your team is going to be good for their career, which Mercedes are not currently doing if you ask me. It's truly hard to believe that this is the same Mercedes F1 team that won 8 straight World Constructors Championships. But here we are. To make matters even worse, somehow, Suzuka's most prominent feature is its high-speed corners, and high-speed cornering is quite literally the 2024 Mercedes car's biggest weakness, which we all got to see firsthand in Jeddah when we watched Mercedes try and brutally fail to keep up with McLaren through Sector 1. This is the worst Mercedes have looked in a long time. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but it is entirely possible that Mercedes finished this season 5th in the World Constructors Championship after finishing in the top 3 every season since 2013. I don't think this will happen given Mercedes' track record of positive mid-season development, but the fact that it is even a legitimate possibility is wild. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. Here are my 3 bona fide race predictions for this weekend's Formula 1 Japanese Grand Prix. My first race prediction is that Ferrari will not be on the podium for the first time this season. Yes, I'm predicting the team that just went 1-2 in Australia to have neither driver finish on the podium in Japan. I think Red Bull, McLaren, and maybe even Aston Martin somehow are set up too well for Suzuka's high-speed corners for a Ferrari car to finish ahead of 3 of those 6 cars. Well, 5 if you don't include Lance Stroll. My second race prediction is that Yuki Tsunoda finishes in the points at his home Grand Prix for the first time in his career. This will be Yuki's 3rd attempt at a home Grand Prix points finish, and with the impeccable form Yuki is in at the moment that's seen him consistently beat his experienced teammate Daniel Ricciardo, as well as achieve an impressive P7 result at the last race in Australia, I love Yuki to give the Japanese fans exactly what they want to see by becoming the first Japanese home Grand Prix points finisher since Kamui Kobayashi finished on the Japanese Grand Prix podium in 2012. My final race prediction is that McLaren driver Oscar Piastri will finish on the Japanese Grand Prix podium. You all thought I was going to say Lando Norris, didn't you? Didn't you? Admit it. I'm not saying Lando doesn't finish on the podium. After all, last year in Japan, McLaren went 2-3. But my prediction is specifically that Oscar will be on the podium this weekend, given how he started on the front row at Suzuka last year, how he's been putting in solid drives thus far in 2024, and how the McLaren car's high-speed corner dominance sets them up perfectly to be battling at the front at Suzuka. And finally today, here's my prediction for the 2024 Japanese Grand Prix top 5 finishers with zero reasoning nor explanation. P5, Charles Leclerc. P4, Lando Norris. P3, Checo Perez. P2, Oscar Piastri. P1, Max Verstappen. Leave a comment with your 2024 Japanese Grand Prix race predictions so I can see them. But before you comment, remember to subscribe and then help me get this video to 1,500 likes by tossing this video a like. Please do it. I need it. I need it. And by the way, if you're in the market for some F1 gear to wear while you watch F1 this season, look no further than the Formula Bone shop. I have a ton of F1 inspired designs there that come in a ton of sizes and colors, so you are sure to find something you'll love. A link to the Formula Bone merch shop is in the description. Check it out if you want to support Formula Bone and yourself at the same time. Special shout out to my top YouTube channel members: Joe Max's #1 hitter Snow, Brian Linton, Daddy Fett, Wolf Loves Racing, Waffleopagus, and David Hake. Mash that join button just below this video to get your name shouted out right here in future videos, as well as a bunch of other awesome perks for less than $5 a month. Till next time, folks, J-Bomb! J-Bone!